Aishling Aherne. I think that's how it's pronounced, I'm not too sure. Would like to hear from Uncle Stephen. Uncle Stephen's in the Summerlands, however. So what we're going to do here to make contact with Uncle Stephen to see if there's a message from him. We're going to use these mediumship cards. I suppose you could call them conversation cards, couldn't you? Or I call them a phrase book for the other side to use. I suppose when we go on holiday and we try and learn Japanese or talk Japanese, and we end up wanting a cup of tea in a cafe somewhere, and we end up looking in the phrase book and ask where the bus stop is instead. And everybody looks at us a bit daft, don't they? As if we're stupid, as if we've lost sixpence. Well, I suppose in a way this is a similar thing. But laughing and joking apart, these cards have sentences on them. Each card has like a pre-written sentence or message, as you would say. And then as we shuffle, Spirit will help us to manipulate the cards and put them in order to give us that sort of phrase book effect, as you would say. Of course, any message that comes through will be what's written on the card, so it might not be word for word. I mean, okay, it might be, but usually we'll probably have to paraphrase it or just go by how we feel to what the card or whatever the message on the card is actually, the sentence is actually saying. So with no further ado then, we better ask Stephen, Uncle Stephen, and ask Uncle Stephen to join us. So we'll just get hold of these cards here, and then we'll, as we shuffle them, we just ask Spirit of Uncle Stephen. We ask for your presence, your message for Aherne there. Spirit of Uncle Stephen, we ask for your presence. Commune with us, Uncle Stephen, through these cards and move among us. Spirit of Uncle Stephen, we ask for your presence. Commune with us, Uncle Stephen, through these cards and move among us. Blessed be to Uncle Stephen and all absent friends. And we just cut the cards there. For you there, and we'll just place them there. And where the deck splits is where it's thought to be at its most energetic point, at its strongest point there. And of course, that's where Uncle Stephen has just left his energy and his message. So, first of all, we'd like to welcome Uncle Stephen to our setting. Uncle Stephen, we welcome you to our setting. We thank you for your time. We thank you for your energy, and we thank you for your love and the message that you're about to convey there for Aherne. So let's just pull out the first cards. I normally pull out 3 cards initially. I mean, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's more, but initially I pull out 3, and that's I suppose a bit like beginning, middle, and end, isn't it? That's my theory on it. It's not like as if we're doing tarot cards or something like that, where we have to have past, present, and future, or this, that, and the other, or whatever that is. In this particular case, it's just a beginning, middle, and end. I suppose it is a bit like a timeline, isn't it, or a past, present, future thing. It's a beginning, middle, and end of a message or a statement. A lot of statements will probably have more than a beginning, a middle, and end, but usually in general, although one must not generalise, I suppose. Let's see what the first thing is that Uncle Stephen's got to say. We're going to just flip the card nice and slowly, not to disturb its energy or anything like that, just so, so there we go. And there Uncle Stephen is just using the card that says there is no time where I am. Time is only on the earth. There's no time where I am, time is only on the earth. And I suppose because you're in a spiritual dimension there, Steve, if you don't mind me calling him Steve, okay, I don't know. There's a lot of Stevens become Steve, don't they? I don't know if that's, I don't know, man, if you don't mind me saying that, Steve, but just Uncle Stephen there. He's just saying really that notice the rose and the rose and the hourglass there, as if to imply that there's no need for sand in the hourglass, because there's no use for it. So put love in there instead, like the love of like a rose or something like that, maybe. Maybe he's saying, of course, it's timeless love, isn't it, Stephen? And that's sort of guy he's sort of saying. It's like timeless love or something like that. That it's beyond time and space. And spirit, he's beyond time and space there, and that means he can love you forevermore, and always loved you, always loves you, and always will love you in that sense because of that. Because it's above the earth, I suppose, as well. He's not on the earth. Time is only on the earth, and he's above the earth in the sense, not just so much physically above the earth. Think as above. When people say, oh, heaven above and all this, it isn't actually in the sense of up there in the sky where the clouds are. Although this sort of tends to, on the rear of these cards, tends to give you that sort of up in the clouds, stairway to heaven sort of effect, don't they? But actually, when we say up in heaven or up there, we actually mean up to another level. A bit like when you go upgrade to, when you go from one class to another, or upgrade in a school or something, or when you're promoted you go up, don't you? It's that sort of thing, really. It's up in that, up to another level, not so much physically up in the sky, or everybody thinks as God as a sort of old man with a beard in the sky, and he isn't. He's just up there on another level. That's when we say up. Of course, when we do ascension, when the astral double ascends and leaves the body and floats above the body, then that is, of course, physically up in the sense in the other the astral dimension above the body. But that's a different subject, isn't it? The timeless dimension, where Stephen is. And my cup of coffee is just on this table over here. Right, let me, I've got a funny feeling Stephen might have liked a cup of coffee now and again and all. Let's grab another card now. I'm going to see what else Stephen's got to say. So, Uncle Stephen, after my little rant there, I just thought I'd just point out where in an actual sort of fact you are. Because a lot of people just think, oh, up in the sky. And it's a very sort of naive way of thinking, because it isn't factual as to the spiritual side of it, which is a shame, really. Let's see what else Uncle Stephen has to say for you there. He's just saying time is only of the earth. I am not dead. He's just saying there, I'm not dead. Did you say I'm not dead? Yes. There's another one that says something similar. I am not dead. Notice there the dove, I suppose. I don't know what that's. Is that indicating the dove of peace? Like as if he's saying I'm at peace. You know, I'm raising. I've gone up. As if he's going through that sort of that beam of light, as if he's heading toward the beam of light. I'm up in the light again, up to the higher level, but light as opposed to the darkness below, and in that sense. Not that darkness itself is negative, of course. It's just that negativity resides in the darkness because it's easy to do. But there's a lot of wisdom in the darkness as well, and in the same way, There's a lot of there can be a lot of negativity in the light as well when it's brought to light, but that's what the light is for. But in this particular case, it's the dove going toward the light, going toward. So I got a sort of feeling as though he's saying, and I shouldn't say this, but I will anyway. I got a funny feeling as though Uncle Stephen's saying, I'm in the light. I went to the light. When I passed, I went to the light. Although he doesn't say it on there, he just says, I am not dead. Just saying, time, there's no such thing as time where I am. Time is only on the earth. I am not dead. Time is the thing that I suppose kills us, but if we live long enough, something kills us, or we end up dead in some way. If you run a car for too long, it'll conk out eventually and you'll have to get out and walk. And that's effectively what Uncle Stephen's had to do. The body or the car, the automobile has conked out and he's had to get out and walk, and the soul is when you get out and walk and then you go and you have to. But of course then that means you can be everywhere at once, doesn't it? Let's just see what the next card is and what the third thing, I suppose, the beginning, middle and end to the statement that Stephen has to say there. Let's just see what that is. And it just says, my death was painless. Please don't worry or hold on to guilt. I always like to view this card as the point of my death was painless. Please don't worry or hold on to guilt. In a sense, he's saying time doesn't exist where I am. There's no such thing as time where I am, and of course, but I'm not dead. There's no such thing as time, but I'm not dead. As if he's saying, but I'm not dead, because you can't die where I am. And then he's just saying, I just want you to know that the point of my death was, or at the point of my death, it was painless. That's when he went to the light, when he saw the light and went to the light. You see how everything is coming in there, how it joins together. And I just want you to know that the point of my death was at the time of my death, it was painless. Now I don't know if he's implying that, of course, he was in pain before, but at the time of his death, his death itself was painless. So, of course, I mean, we can be drugged up, medicated or anything accordingly, you know, well, in sort of terms today, you can be, but at the time of his death, his death itself was painless. So what happened before doesn't matter, because it's after now, isn't it? And I suppose he's gone to live, hasn't he, really, in a way? He's just been born into a different sort of dimension, the time and space. I sort of want to pull out another card here. I just sort of feel as though something has been sort of unsaid or hasn't been quite completed, as if Uncle Stephen, he just says, go on, pull the other one. Not when you say pull the other one, of course, and you say, oh yeah, you're kidding me, pull the other one. That was when people were hung, and you have to pull a leg to make sure the person was dead. And what you do is you pull the other one, you pull the other leg just to make sure. That was where pull the other one come from. But pull the other one in this sense, I just sort of heard, like in the back of my mind, as if to say pull the other card, not pull the other leg. So that's there's two things we've learnt now. I don't know if Stephen used to say that. Maybe he might have been a bugger for saying that. I don't know. Let's just see what he's just got to say. This, I feel, just that one more card. He just needs to say this. He's just saying you have nothing to feel guilty about. So really he's just saying don't worry or hold on to guilt, because you've got nothing to feel. Like as if there's a because card there you could put, because you've got nothing to feel guilty about. It's not your fault, and then don't blame yourself. That's basically what he's saying. I'm not dead, so don't panic, as you'd say. Time is only on the earth. There's no such thing as time where I'm in a timeless dimension now. I can even go back in time, I can go forward in time, I can go wherever I want. That's what he's sort of saying. Well, seems to be like implying, you know, with what he's here. But yeah, I just feel it's fading a bit now, and he's sort of fading a bit. So what I'm going to do is we're going to just gather all of Uncle Stephen's cards up. Thanks, Uncle Stephen, for joining us in this setting, and we are grateful. And I say thanks very much for your time. Thanks for your energy. Thanks for the message. And we're going to now just get the rest of the cards, and just as we know, with love being eternal, as we said before, that love is the law, love is the bond. Marry did we meet, marry do we part. And Uncle Stephen, marry may we meet again. And until then, we'll just place the rest of the deck just on top of Uncle Stephen's cards, and then we lay Uncle Stephen to rest like that. And as we do, we just imagine, close your eyes and just imagine a door that's wide open, and that light there that's Uncle Stephen with the dove was heading toward, that light just shining through the door. And then just imagine that light as it shines through the door, imagine the door closing slowly, and as it closes slowly, that light begins to fade out, goes out. You can just see it through the crack of the door there, and then finally the door closes, and then we can open our eyes again and return back to the darkness of this cruel, harsh world that Uncle Stephen has left behind. But for now, the rest is silence. Blessed be to Uncle Stephen and all absent friends.